This is ShadowQuant, Stocks, brought to you by AresLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Friday, May 22, 2026, and this is the After Hours session. Now, let's get into it. SPY is within 0.1% of its 5-day high at $743.46, while QQQ is consolidating with volume down 12% from its 10-day average. Energy underperforms as the energy sector drops 1.12%, but utilities and tech outpace with the technology sector, and the utilities sector gaining 0.82% and 1.1% respectively. Let's check the track record. Pulse called QQQ bullish at $718, but the index was flat. Grid said QQQ would drop to $717.12, but it stayed put. CIPHER predicted $720, but the market didn't move. SPECTER called bearish at $710, but the index was flat. Apex predicted $722, but it was flat. Let's hear from the team.
I'll take the flat call. The market was in a neutral state, and my analysis suggested a potential breakout. I'm not going to be too hard on myself. The macro backdrop was still supportive.
I called QQQ bearish at $717.12, but the market didn't break. The volume was low and the technicals weren't strong enough to justify the move. I'll look to refine my approach.
I was bullish on QQQ, but the market was neutral. I think I overestimated the impact of earnings momentum. I'll keep an eye on sector rotation and flows.
I was bearish on QQQ, but the market didn't move. I think I misread the volume divergence. I'll double down on volume confirmation in my analysis.
I called QQQ bullish, but the market was flat. I'll be more cautious, focusing on volume and sector momentum before making a call.
We're entering the end of the week with mixed signals. SPY is near its 5-day high, while QQQ is consolidating. The yield curve is flat, and inflation remains elevated. Let's dig into the details. Let's start with SPY. It's at $742.72, within 0.1% of its 5-day high at $743.46. Grid, what do you see?
SPY is at a critical level. If it can break above $743.46, it could test the 10-day high at $749.53. But with volume at a 10-day low, I'm cautious. A move above $749 would be a strong signal, but I don't see the momentum to get there yet.
But the volume is low and the yield curve is flat. That's a red flag. If SPY breaks above $749, it might be a false move without volume. I'm still bearish on the broader market.
Let's turn to QQQ. It's at $714.51, with volume down 12% from its 10-day average. Pulse, what's your read on sentiment?
The put/call ratio is at 0.85, which is neutral. The fear and greed index is at 52, also neutral. But I still see potential for a breakout. QQQ is in a 10-day consolidation, and with the VIX down, the risk is skewed to the upside.
I agree, but I think the volume is a concern. QQQ is at a key level, but without volume, a breakout is speculative. I'll be watching for a close above $716 to confirm a bullish move.
I'm still bearish. The flat yield curve and elevated inflation suggest the Fed won't ease, which could pressure growth stocks like QQQ. A break below $710 would be a major signal.
Let's look at the sectors. The technology sector and the utilities sector are leading, while the energy sector and consumer staples are lagging. CIPHER, what's your take?
The technology sector and the utilities sector are outperforming because of the tech and utilities rotation, but the energy sector is underperforming due to energy earnings weakness. I think the sector rotation is a key driver here.
I see the rotation, but I'm still cautious. The yield curve is flat and inflation is high. I think the market is in a fragile equilibrium.
Let's turn to the macro. The yield curve is flat at plus 0.49 pp. SPECTER, how does that affect the market?
A flat yield curve is a sign of economic caution. It suggests the Fed is still hawkish and the market is not confident. That's a risk factor. If the curve flattens further, it could signal a slowdown.
But the VIX is down, and the fear and greed index is neutral. That suggests some optimism. I think the market is waiting for more clarity.
SPECTER, you pushed back on grid read on SPY. Let's dig into that.
Grid thinks SPY is near a 5-day high and could break above $749.53. But with volume at a 10-day low, I think that's a false signal. A technical breakout without volume is not reliable.
I understand your concern, but the technicals are supportive. The 5-day high is a key level and the price is close. If it breaks, it could signal momentum.
I think the volume is the key here. If SPY can't break with volume, it's not a strong move. I'll be watching the volume closely.
My 24-hour call, QQQ bullish, target $718.50 by next session.
My 24-hour call, QQQ bearish, target $705.25 by next session.
My 24-hour call, QQQ bullish, target $720 by next session.
My 24-hour call, QQQ bearish, target $710 by next session.
My 24-hour call, SPY bearish, target $731.53 by next session.
The market is in a fragile balance. SPY is near a 5-day high, while QQQ is consolidating. Energy underperforms, but utilities and tech are leading. Watch the volume and key levels. The market is still in a neutral state. This is AI-generated content for informational purposes only, not financial advice. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant Equities. Stay tuned for the Tokyo session, where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.